So our headline is what are legacy impacts and how to achieve them. So a better understanding. I used that recently, 2 months ago, as a visual, because maybe this is what you can take away a bit longer to rethink and reverse. We are very, very tuned and familiar with, okay, what do you need to make an event happening, right? Organization, the stakeholders, the facilities, invitations, call for papers, the topics, the committee, and so on, and we plan a proceeding and so on. Yeah? But when we talk about legacy impacts, we go much beyond. We talk about outcomes and not outputs. The output is a paper, 175 presentations, 570 participants, so and so many travels maybe, and overnights and spendings, and so is output. But outcomes go beyond. So, and Geoff asked me already, maybe a first attempt for an answer, a quick answer. What is legacy? Is an outcome that lasts. The conference is gone, participants go home, but there is still something that endures, that stays in the destination, or in maybe in the city or the community that the conference was hosted. Yeah? So legacies have some enduring element that goes much beyond the inputs, the outputs, the papers, the presentation. We can look at what goes beyond, what endures, what stays longer. There is no definition. It has to stay 1 year, 5 years, or for the eternity, but at least something that stays in the community, or maybe in the country. I found something that, and it's also a reference already to, we are not alone in this journey, to propagate and to explain what are legacies and related to business events. There is a joint meetings industry council that started already several years ago, and with case studies, with calls for destination to invest in case studies, and wow, storytelling. Yeah? So, we are exactly here. We try to tell, say, something about these outcomes in an interesting story. Yeah? Of course, we can think about different formats. It's almost a bit too much text, but I simply want to relate and refer to other, say, leading institutions, organizations like the IJBEL, which is a non-profit organization, I think, that helps. And you can read later. We will go to their website when we work a little bit on that. What I want to highlight is this. Yeah, you see here the legacy, and it looks like a formula, but it is an equation. But two elements to consider and to focus on is, say, the mission of an association or an exhibition company, an event owner, and these are many cases universities. And we have to start with looking at what is the wider mission. Usually, what I've seen so far in my past 30 years or more, that conferences organized by universities, they don't have a wider mission. They have goals, of course. Minimum 400 participants, 300 papers, I don't know how many journal publications in A, B, C, rank journal, and so on. This is outputs. Not so much mission, but if we think about universities and associations, scientific associations, and other players, also companies, usually they have a mission. They have a mission. So a bit of a wider perspective, what it is, what the reason of their existence, their long-term existence, right? Not a particular event or product, but, you know, broken down or kind of in relation, put that into relation of the vision and development strategy of the destination. And you see, this is destination. This is not tourism. So this is the wider perspective of a city, of a region, of a state. And this is also not limited to purely economic strategies. It's society. So this perspective is very broad, but only if we set these two things, these entities, their missions and visions into a particular relation, then we can produce, or at least stimulate, legacy. So this is what we are talking about here. Here it's I find a very useful and nice table that I try to walk through, maybe not in every detail, but why? There is an author that he wrote an article a few years ago about sports events, but the terminology is still appropriate. Clarifying 4 terms that create confusion if we don't really consider closely. Legacy, sustainability, then leveraging. What is that? Leveraging, and impact. Let's start with where are the commonalities? Where are the differences? Let's talk about the commonalities. All 4 concepts have in common that we can talk about something positive. It's not limited to that. It's tangible and intangible. So what the outcome is, so you can either see it, touch it. If you have infrastructure, stadiums, you know, in the sports world, very easy. Cable cars, the stadiums, other sport facilities, maybe schools, accommodation can be used for various purposes, and so and the same for in other sectors. So other events, you can build exhibition conference centers, you can rejuvenate quarters, convert old warehouses into, I don't know, creative spaces, apartment buildings, office buildings, and so on. So there are tangibles, but there are also intangible assets. Yeah? Can be global, can be local. And you see, there was also something in common, that it is planned. Yeah? All 4 terms, legacies, sustainability, leveraging on something, and impact can be planned. Not necessarily. Yeah, let's start from the last. Legacies appear sometimes also unplanned. Yeah? We find out later, right? If something happens, strengthening social networks, for example, because people find each other and still after an event continue working together, either establishing a new association, a new foundation, a new organization, or working without formal structures, but continue to help each other, and so on. So, sorry. Please, welcome. So legacies can be also not planned. Whereas when we talk about sustainability, it's usually not, it's a planned thing. Leveraging over impact. Impact, I mean, can be unplanned, unintended, positive and negative. But also both terms, interestingly, they might be associated with negative, say, outcomes. Now, whereas sustainability, usually we don't talk about negatives. Sustainability is, per definition, something that has a positive connotation. Because why? Remember, sustainability is a quite complex definition, because we use, say, resources that don't compromise the livability of future current and future generations. How to measure that? Yeah, is it sustainable to consume the electricity today? And now, is it already harmful for the next generations? I mean, that's a very simple and too simplistic example, but when we talk about sustainability, we want to keep principles or apply principles that don't compromise too much, right? Always a compromise. But okay, I don't want to go into too much detail, but sustainability has that in mind. Yeah? Operations, structures, projects, and so on, that fulfill certain criteria. And we all know in the meantime, the United Nations SDGs, they define 17 areas. It's broken down to more details. And so to give a more particular, say, interpretation, where are these compromises and what to keep. But anyway, the common thing is, so with legacy, that it is something that is long-term. Yeah. Otherwise, sustainability, if you say, okay, we meet today, we leave the room clean, and I don't know, we eat everything up, no food waste, and so, okay, is this sustainable? I mean, we can call it, but I think it's inappropriate, right? Sustainability has a really also a long-term perspective of our activities and so on. So yes, there are common things, but a legacies don't really measure up or level up to that assessment evaluation. Okay, and there say a compromise, a good, a positive compromise towards future resources and generations. Yeah, even though mostly we talk about legacies as a positive, it can be negative. And here you see this sometimes maybe not compatible with the sustainability idea, because it's lasting. Think about, I mean, it's a bit easier to borrow from the sports world. If mega sports events build stadiums, I don't want to go into Qatar. I mean, these things that last, yeah, and on this area, this land plots, you cannot use in a different way for long time. So it has an impact. Sometimes maybe it turns out to have a negative impact, rising costs, for example. So legacy sustainability, it's not the same. It has a different angle, but of course you can translate or many legacies into, don't say SDGs, but in components that fulfill also the sustainability claim. Yeah, you see that this is the last column that I mentioned, or the author here column, at the balance between economic, social, and ecological, ideas and criteria. The legacies don't combine all that. Yeah? Legacies can have, educational legacies, investments to strengthen a sector, for example, to modernize the technology in some ways. Is this a balance between all these three pillars? Not necessarily, right? And still we can claim, or okay, it's a legacy, hopefully a positive, and in many cases it's a positive legacy, but per se, a legacy is not always works under the assumption that it is entirely sustainable. Again, you could always argue now, show me those things that are perfectly sustainable, that really keep all that balance. This is why I mentioned before, for me, sustainability is an easy term. We try to use it, understand it every day, but in the strict sense, it is very complex. Complex to really give an answer, an appropriate answer. So who makes the assessment? So for me, also the 17 UN SDGs have a bit of a danger built in, because if you pick one of these things, take it out of context, it might be fine. It might you make achievements, but are these achievements really in balance? So the original definition of criteria for sustainability. So this, for me, this is a bit of a slicing approach. It is okay. It's important to create a better understanding and worldwide. I don't criticize too much, but we also have to keep in mind, simply by addressing SDG 4.2 or 7.5. Is the homework done? Is it complete? I don't want to give the answer, but we have to also keep that in mind. It's not automatically, because you can refer to SDG number, blah, blah. Okay, we find we are on the safe side. We are the good boys and girls, whatever. I don't believe that. So okay. Leveraging is something, I think this is a process, right? This is a leveraging, is sometimes used to have a leverage on through something, right? So we use it commonly as a positive process. You see, there are commonalities, I talked about that. But leveraging, for example, will not be used as an unplanned thing. Leveraging is something on purpose, right? You leverage on, you use something, you benefit, and so on. And then maybe I think more important is to clarify the impact notion, because remember, we are using also in combination legacy impacts. What is it? Impact, you say, per se, per definition, has no long-term perspective. New opportunities out of the initial activity, not necessarily. So impact, think about an event, and you take care about the ecology, the environment, you avoid any printed paper, you go digital, and maybe even you take care about the food waste. So I don't know, either you use all the leftovers to try to give back to the community, to those who have nothing to eat, and something, you immediately create an impact, a positive impact, because for a day or two, some 100 poor people have something to eat. It is an impact. But will you talk about a legacy? I would not. I will not. This is not a legacy. This is something, not something that endures as really a long-term perspective. Why? Because people leave, participants of an event leave, there is no impact, right? So for me, very, very intriguing or very clear example. But other than that, of course, there can be negative impacts, traffic jams, congestion, events, whatever, increasing pricing. It's planned, I mean, and non-planned, intended, unintended. So legacy impact. So why using legacy impact? maybe to break it down, what is the impact from a legacy? The legacy is the kind of the long-term kind of perspective, something that endures, and out of that, of course, you can link and create impact. So I think it's appropriate. It's not a nonsense or something that you double use a concept or a term doubling. So you can either use legacy or legacy impact if you relate an impact to a particular legacy, but an impact per se is not automatically a long-term thing. Yeah? Okay, let's go. I hope, we can always question that, and I hope you will also discuss and together with yourself, where I am, what do you have in mind, when we try to address, say, the long-term outcome of business events. And here, I will mention that many times, probably, we are not limited to the big things. The wow, like what happens regularly when we talk about Olympics and World Championships. Usually, these are the big things. Not so much has been talked or reported on maybe the minor things. But I think this is the nice thing. Legacies can be very small, can be limited to a small community. But again, if we are carefully analyzing, maybe without the initial trigger, without the design of an event that can be out of 20 or 50 people, maybe it would not have happened. So this is also kind of erasing immediately your concerns here. We are never that big, that have the big impacts. When we talk about legacies, it's something that endures, we said, and I found that also very, very interesting. I think this author mentioned that in a very, very clear way. Legacies are a change of structure. And structure can be something mentally, an attitudinal change. The change about health and consciousness. When it comes to vaccination, for example, or preventive measures. When should I go? At which age it's appropriate to go to a health check, for example. This is something, a mindset that has to be changed. And conferences, for example, and of course through media and reporting coverage, this can change the mindset of the everyday people. And it happened. I mentioned that because I know I can illustrate that. With the HPV vaccination, for example, in Australia, it started. COVID is another topic. Maybe we should not touch, but many people had to change their mindset. Of course, a large proportion of the population was resistant. Why should I get a jab? I don't want that, right? Is the subsidy? Is it safe? And so on. So, so we can start, or such change in structure is intangible, can be intangible, can be here in the mindset of everyday people, politicians. But it can be also change of structure and concrete, better infrastructure for various purposes. In industry, we have the establishment of an association, or not a headquarter, but a branch or so that goes on further and spread the word and organize other events to improve the business opportunities. So, for example, legacies are change in structure. Impacts are not, go back to that. Impacts are not the change of structure per se, but what you can induce by such a changed structure. Yeah? So that if I go back to the say vaccination programs or something, or the availability of vaccines, yeah, the impact is okay, and more people accept and are vaccinated, and of course maybe public health goes up, and health issues and sickness, illnesses, and treatments go down. So this is then the impact. The legacy starts with the change of whatever structural element in society and the community. For me, this helped a lot, this idea. Change in structure and gives value, and kind of a value, an optional value. Because think about it, even if we change our mindset towards vaccination, but there is no action, for example, unavailability of vaccines. We want to, but for whatever reasons, there is no vaccine developed, not available, nobody can afford, there is no impact. So we have to also can differentiate this value that an event or organizations generate, long term, long run, but then only the value in use, and we apply that change in the right way. Then you create another value that then we can say, okay, it had an impact. I will go a bit faster now. This is I want to stop here for a while, because I think also can help you, everybody who wants to write, to get a GPS, kind of where we are, where you are. I called it drivers of business events. So you can also say stakeholders. There is academia, very prominent as organizers, not our core business, but I used to that, but associations. I don't know, I don't have the statistics, but I think as scientific associations, maybe creating alone or together with academia, with universities, and most of the conferences and meetings. Then we have the organizers, the venues. So these are two. Venues provide the infrastructure, and then in between are the PCOs, professional congress or event organizers. I mean, they have different, I mentioned here the drivers, the motivation, why they are in business, right? We have the destinations, Erie, Sarawak, whatever, mostly. So in most cases, it's cities. Sometimes you find destinations, maybe so in venues, locations that are not in cities, but mostly cities, right? But the destinations again can be considered very locally, a town, a city, but can be also a region that have a vital interest, right? Try to promote business events that people come, visit, come together, meet at a particular place. Of course, then you have the participants that they also have an interest. I mean, various interests. It's not only one. It's they want to learn. They want to share. Very often, career opportunities. You meet the right people. In America, it's quite common that you have certain conferences where there is always a session, where you meet HR people or prepare a change and so on. And of course, last but not least, or enjoy touristic experiences as drivers. So Is the story complete? What do you think? Is it so kind of from stakeholders? I think not. I come back to that later if you allow, or if time allows, but yep. Okay, I added another column. Government and communities. Why? Because this is not, say, fully represented through this, what we call destination. Destination is, I would say, is maybe more the touristic perspective. Yeah. And remember when I started with the definition, or with the giving the idea what is legacy is, it's say the interaction or adjusting an association's mission or vision with the vision of a destination. Could be economy, could be, economic prosperity, social well-being, social cohesion, education. So people-centered. And this is, I mean, indirectly, and it depends, now whom we consider as a destination representative. In many cities and are we back?
Yes.
Looks like, oh, great. Click on got it. I don't want to learn more. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so government, yeah.
Prof. Andres, I do have a question.
Can you repeat, please?
This Geoffrey here. I do have a question. So,
Yes, please.
so, why you put it as a challenges instead of a goal of business events? From my perspective, example,
Yeah.
participants share information, knowledge, and transfer, networking, career opportunity, enjoy touristic experience. Isn't that this is the goals of a business event?
Yeah. The challenge are the question marks. Where are those stakeholders, in terms of legacies? Because I try to address the main drivers, and for me, this is not per se generating legacies. It has the capacity, but we have to align it. This is where I see the challenges. And I mentioned very critically before that, I mean, I'm an insider for universities. I don't want to speak too much about others, but universities and university conferences, I don't read a broader mission, what a conference should really induce as a legacy. Yeah, this is where I say there are challenges to improve the understanding that only if we align those visions and ideas that government and communities have in a destination, then we can say induce, trigger, enable legacies. And I see that as a challenge. This is why we do that, why we do run the journal, why we do studios, why say organizations like BE Sarawak puts that really on top of the agenda. Yeah? Because we have to explain that. We have to connect it. Yeah? Otherwise, I think it will not happen so fast voluntarily. Because, you know, look at the stakeholders. They do their job. They want to do their job professionally, and they want to serve their customers. And that's it. And as long as we are profitable, or it's okay, nothing to criticize. But again, what's not an automatic process is to generate legacies. Yeah, so benefits to the local or regional, national communities. So, do you agree? Or, I mean,
Prof, maybe it's too deep for most of us.
okay.
I'm quite keen to find out from to hear from the floor, whether it's from Curtin or from BCCK here. What have they grabbed so far from your lecture? Maybe they have something to ask or question to they are pondering about.
Sure.
Anyone here have any questions on what Prof. Andrews had mentioned earlier on?
Yeah, it's always good to stop for a moment.
Welcome the Curtin team also.
Okay.
No one from Curtin, then I will pick the people from BCCK. Everyone have a wish in life, am I right? Want to serve a purpose. Can I hear from each and every one of you, what's the purpose of your personal purpose in life? Anyone want to share your personal purpose? I can share mine first. My purpose in life is to share and to empower myself to do great things. Some people say, "No, Geoffrey, you can't do it. It's impossible for you to achieve that." But what the doctors told me once before said to help the community, whoever your purpose is, you just have to know where, who, what your purpose is. Number one, like my purpose is to reduce the mortality of childbirth, mother who lost their life during childbirth. This is my objective, my purpose in life. How to do that? I reach out to the OGSM, or Gynecology Association. I speak to those doctors and says, Sarawak have a huge number, about 2,000 moms pass away every year due to childbirth. Do you know that? But yes, we are aware of that. What's the cause of the childbirth, the death from the childbirth? Is because of lack of knowledge from the midwife or the dukun, and because they are in the rural area, they're far away from the medical facilities. And how are we going to do this? I mean, how are we going to fulfill this purpose in life to help to reduce that numbers? By bringing the conference in Sarawak and to create a legacy CSR program where the doctors will volunteer to give a life-saving skill to all the midwife, the nurses, and the dukun in the rural area, because it's not in their practice, but they do have a curriculum that they can contribute their knowledge and share their knowledge to the local community. That's how I link my purpose to my work, because I work for the Convention Bureau. My job is to bring conferences to Sarawak. By enabling that, then I get my, my purpose fulfilled. Let's hear from the others. Anyone want to share? The mic is behind you. If not, I'll pass back to Katin. Anyone want to share their purpose and how they look into that? Why I share this purpose is because of legacy impact. It's the impact of the event. The events held in Sarawak, and they translate to the impact from the conference. The mortality rate today have dropped to 700, even though we still have, but it had dropped from 2,000 plus to 700. There's still an achievement. So let's hear from the rest of them. The mic. Hi, can you pass the mic?
Hello, testing. Good morning, Prof. Andreas and Jeffrey. Actually, after Jeffrey have shared his purpose of life, I've better grasp on the concept of legacy impact. So I would love to share a bit. If I'm out of the line, please drag me back. Okay. Basically, I'm in the education line. I started my education career as an English tutor. So, but throughout the because I wasn't a good student before, and I do not have a good result before. So I know the type of students, how do they think, how do they feel when they are in the class. So I'm trying to bring up a different way, which is to promote growth mindset in the child, um, especially the teenagers. So I'm from What Academy. We are trying to instill the concept of a growth mindset in order to help the youth, so that it not only they can from inside themselves, they are willing to learn more, to challenge more, and also when they are out of in the society to work, they're able to grasp, because they are from mostly from how should I put it? Maybe their education background is not that strong. So they are very lack of confidence actually. And they always receive negativity from teachers, to be sad to say, mostly parents, because they feel that they have disappointed them. So they are very lack of self-confidence. So through here, we are actually providing them a way of a safe environment for them to like really be themselves, to pick up whatever they have lost before. Yeah, that's what we are trying to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone from Curtin? Before I asked, I picked somebody from BCCK here.
No,
Anyone from Curtin? If not, I
No.
pick one more person. Prof, if you don't mind.
yeah, no, it's okay.
Who have inspired me also. I met this person more than I know this person more than 20 years. His name is Ernest. When I go and dive with him, introduced to him via a friend who said that someone is passionate about the environment. At that time, when I'm still young and still work for the Sarawak Tourism Board, I have very little awareness about environment impact on the marine life, about the environment, how we should conserve our environment. Then say, Geoffrey, if you want to start your hobby or your interest in scuba diving, go and meet up with Ernest. Um, he's passionate about environment impact, and let's hear from him about his program.
Thank you, Geoffrey, for that introduction. I don't know how to describe that. Anyway, okay. Back to you're asking me about objective in life. I think there'll be very. I have a lot of objective. I think. Anyway, but for short term, life is a journey. Currently, for the last decade, I would say that I just want to share what I have seen, experienced underwater, which is many people who have lived their whole life don't get much chances to even or no chances at all actually to experience it. The most is you may seen it on a big screen in National Geography, yeah, that sort of thing. But we have been there, and there's still more for us to explore. And I would want to share that with as many people as possible. And of course, we have seen the changes. None of it has been bad to good, but it's more to good to bad. Yeah. So I hope that there are things that we can do so that my children, children's will be able to see it. Yeah. I guess that will be my objective for now. All right. Thank you.
If I may add, Ernest is doing a program called the Dive Hard program. This program is to enable OKU, those people with disability, to have the experience in scuba diving. So this gives them the empowerment and experience. Maybe you want to elaborate more about that.
Yeah, you just touch the button. Okay. What the most current program that I'm very involved in for the last, I guess, let me think, maybe about last 7 years is most of us would know, we've seen people in the wheelchair, all right? And you said Johnny's on the wheelchair. But I have brought Johnny underwater, and now he's no more called Johnny in a wheelchair, but it's actually Johnny a diver. Right? And people who loses certain physical abilities, or not only physical but a lot of other senses, they always think that there are limited things that they can do in life. For us, we don't believe in that. We are doing a program called Dive Hard. It's a mission actually, and our tagline is called "Imagine the Possibilities," and we have done that. Okay, I hope to pursue that in the coming future. That allow people with disability to actually experience underwater. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Ravi.
Thank you, Ernest. So, anyone else from this room? Before I pick, if not, I will hand over back to Katin. No one.
Thank
Okay.
you, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Prof. Andres.
Yeah,
Thank you for the opportunity.
That's very inspiring. Say window that you open, and I'm sure that maybe everybody could share something about either their professional, say, ambitions or private goals that you started with. What I take out from that, because I'm in the middle of kind of differentiating and drawing attention to areas, and I feel that it's almost not necessary, but I don't want to keep it too theoretical, because as you have seen now, as we have seen, we have our agenda, we have ideas, and we all know that if you take your own say goals that you pursue over long term, yeah, building, maybe you will not name it, but building your own legacies. This is the most powerful source of energy, because this takes you across all hurdles and barriers, and you will still go on, even though you face backdraws and obstacles. Not always, I think, not always we can integrate and combine our personal ambitions into our professional life. Sometimes we are lucky to do that, but anyway, it's not now the discussion how to achieve that. But I simply want to mention that there are different avenues, I would say, and we can draw from that, because we can create either, say, as a role model, as a source of energy for others to join, and so on. And again, let's try to come back to what we started with, and what we try to analyze and develop a better understanding, and what is the role of business events. Business events can be powerful from small to big to help us driving that change, because many times we need to change mindsets, people, awareness, knowledge about, which is hidden underwater, which is what is going on. If nobody knows, we cannot create such maybe an impact that is possible. So let's come back. I want to keep our schedule. We are a bit behind. I come back to here to link legacy areas, that can break down into community, social, economic, environmental, political, and link it. I tried to do that already by mentioning it simply to our United Nations sustainability SDGs, and also, and here the government, the institutions come into on the stage, the priority areas that Sarawak, for example, developed. And I come back to that later. Here are ideas, even more detail. What do we mean by environmental legacies? Carbon, protection of ecosystems, underwater, what an example, perfect. Political agendas, economic things. I come back to that in my second presentation. And also it's very important, because on this journey, what can we write? How can we argue? How can we explain and say, hey, there are positive legacies that an event induced, enabled, and here are ideas. You don't need to read them, but it will help us later to maybe find also the relevant information, because we can, just look at that entire thing from a critical or maybe negative point of view. Everybody could claim how good we are, right? But will we believe it? That there is a positive outcome? We have to come up with some evidences, right? Even if it's only say an opportunity that maybe evolves and emerges later over the next 5 years or 10 years, right? How can we show evidence that in 10 years exactly this and that could happen? We cannot, but at least we can trace it, and here improved standards, new business partnerships, and so on. So there are multiple things that we can think about.